So as you've just heard there, for nearly 14 million children in primary and secondary level education in Kenya's education system, 2020 was largely a lost year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Schools that could continue the classes online did so, but arguably that was a minority. The pandemic, however, did offer an opportunity to tackle long lingering problems like crowded classrooms, outdated curricula, and a brutal schedule that often sees children on the road going to school, in some cases as early as 5 a.m. One such firm, Y Combinator-backed Kidato, recently closed its seed funding round. When I spoke to its founder, Sam Gichuru, a few hours ago, I started by asking him if the business would have taken off as fast as it did were there no pandemic.
I think it would have still been possible to build a business, but it would not have moved as fast as it has moved. The pandemic was more of a catalyst for it. And so the pandemic allowed us to see disorganization and chaos in the education system. And so before this, we had already started homeschooling, and we noticed that there was thousands of parents who have their kids as private students who actually spend time training their kids in East Africa. I mean, there's a whole community actually around Africa in homeschooling parents. And so there was already a need that a small niche market had shown of parents who want better quality education, spend more time with their kids, and all the other things that come together with just having an education that's very customized for every child.
How's the money side of it working out? Because I know you've raised $1.4 million in your latest seed funding round, but from the parents' perspective, what exactly do they pay? Is it a payment per lesson program? Are they paying is in the conventional sense, or rather in the old sense, are they paying for fees up front per term? How are you billing them?
Well, we do have the after-school classes, so you can pay per lesson, although we are currently exploring the opportunity to do them as clubs. And so it's more subscription-based. We'll be going towards subscription-based before the end of the year, including one-off. We still have per lesson payments plus subscription-based just to see how parents prefer it. When it comes to the tutoring side, or the academic side, you can pay monthly for tutoring, you can pay quarterly as the school term runs, or you can pay annually. So we give the parents that particular option to choose. And because most parents have been hard hit by COVID, we have a COVID scholarship as well. So we give 25%, 50% to parents who apply for it. Our cost in terms of tuition is 30 to 50% cheaper than almost any mid-level private school that is teaching an international curriculum.
Okay, what about the teacher supply side? Because COVID absolutely disrupted the education system in Kenya, as you well know. School systems are basically shut down for the better part of a year, and a lot of teachers essentially were not able to make a living at that point in time. But from your side in building out this platform, did you face any skepticism from teachers who are not really comfortable with this idea of teaching things online, or have they gotten used to the idea and they've gone into it 100%?
We're very particular about the teachers we hire. And yes, you're right. In Kenya alone, over 300 private schools shut down because of COVID. So we do have an oversupply of teachers. And our teachers are picked between, they must have a minimum of sort of 3 years experience teaching, and they shouldn't be more than 10 years experience teaching. The problem with teachers who are really super experienced in teaching in a traditional brick and mortar setting is that they try to replicate the same online, and it doesn't work. So we want people who have taught for about 7 years who can learn new ways of delivering content. One of the things we've learned from our students is that they learn a lot from YouTube, watching Minecraft videos, Roblox videos, and we want to replicate very similar exciting experiences on sciences and mathematics and languages. And so our teachers have to have online training, and they have to have this extreme passion for teaching. So we do have an oversupply of teachers, but the best thing about Kidato is that we pay more as well to teachers than a traditional brick and mortar school. Of course, we do not have the brick and mortar overheads. So our revenue is literally split between ourselves and the teachers in a sense. And our teachers also work less hours. They work 6 hours instead of 10 hours because we remove commute and other administrative tasks that teachers are usually given in traditional brick and mortar schools. They don't have to do that. So they work between 5 to 6 hours on a given day when they're fully engaged, giving them a lot of opportunities to upskill themselves, go back to university, or find other sources of revenue, which they can still do on Kidato by offering after-school classes.
Now that you've come off your seed funding round, $1.4 million raised, what's next for Kidato in 2021 in terms of the product offering that's available and also scaling up its reach across the world?
So right now we're just pumping more of our resources in towards building the product, moving it from a minimum viable product to our core product, which should happen in the next 3 months. We'll be doing another launch. We're also looking at partnerships with Ivy League universities and local universities to create a pipeline for our high school students to some of these universities. We are looking at accreditation internationally and locally, just working with different government bodies at this particular point. We are looking at expansion into the East African market. We have a lot of interest from Tanzania right now, some interest from Uganda as well. We are looking at just sort of an East African expansion at this particular point. On our academic side and on our after school side, it's completely open towards students from across the world.